Hey everyone! Today we're going to be discussing email marketing. So we've already talked about building a website, inbound marketing, SEO, organic and paid search, and we're moving on to something that's just as important, and that is email marketing. We're going to start by going over some facts and figures and just seeing how vital of a communication tool email is. And then we're going to go on to practical considerations. Just how do you construct an email? What things do you have to take into consideration when you're working on your subject line, when you're working on the content of the email itself, even getting your email list populated, developing an email list. And we're also going to look at some specific types of emails. And then over on the discussion forum, we will do some applied practice as well. So email marketing, there's just a huge volume of emails in general. So this chart shows total emails sent and received worldwide from 2017 onwards with some projections. And if you do the math on that, you'll see that every person receives an average of 37 emails a day. And of course, because that's an average, it means that some of us receive many more per day. I know I'm one of those people who actually gets more than 37 emails a day. Of course, there are some caveats to this data. So if you use Gmail, if you access it on the Gmail app on your phone or directly on gmail.com, you know that a lot of promotional emails are filtered out directly. We also know that the open rate for commercial emails is very low, quite low, where, it hovers around 15% or so, but still we cannot deny the huge volume of emails that are floating around daily. This chart is more specific. It is specifically about commercial communication, not email in general. And so you can see that email really is the preferred channel of communication among all of the adult generations that we have right now. It's getting a little bit less popular maybe, but still much more popular than, say, in-store communication, text, social media, like the different types of social media, and so on. It remains the most preferred. And then finally, and probably most importantly, email is a very high return on investment digital marketing activity. It remains the highest or among the top 2 highest digital marketing activity, rivaled only by SEO and specifically organic search. Okay, when we work with email marketing, we have KPIs, key performance indicators, just like we had with SEO. And we look at certain figures such as bounce rate, which is how many emails, what is the proportion of email addresses that your emails never even make it to. They bounce right back, either permanently, we call that a hard bounce, or just temporarily, we call that a soft bounce. And then we also look at the opens and the click-throughs. So we look at the open rate and the click rate. The typical open rate right now is right around 15%. And the click rate, which is the proportion of people, the percentage of recipients, unique recipients who actually clicked on one of the links in your email, hovers around, 1 to 1.5%. So these are some of the most important KPIs that we look at. Okay, now let's look at the practical considerations when we construct an email. So when we do that, I want to first point out that we almost always use an email management tool, and you'll be getting some practice in that when we do the email marketing assignment. So my preferred email management tool is MailChimp. It's very streamlined and very powerful. HubSpot, which you've all been using for the certifications, also has its own email management platform. There's Constant Contact, very popular, and there are literally dozens of others. But all of that to say, very few companies manage their email marketing with their own proprietary system. Usually, unless they're huge companies, but usually we use some kind of a third-party system. When you're constructing your email, you're constructing different parts: the subject line, the copy, which is the bulk of the email itself, the body of it, and then you always want an easy, straightforward way to unsubscribe. Okay, so some things to think about when you're writing your subject line is you don't always want it to be extremely salesy. I mean, you do want a call to action somewhere, but reserve that for the ad copy. You want it to be short. You want it to be personalized if possible. So if you've collected the names of your addressees, the people that you're going to send the email to, maybe put their first name in there, maybe personalize it based on geography, whatever it may be. You don't want a lot of punctuation. It doesn't help you to have 3 exclamation marks at the end, quite the contrary. And then you want it to be descriptive and avoid cliches and avoid overused things. So everyone talks about springing into action and falling into savings, and it gets really old. So avoid these things. And here are some examples of really good subject lines that MailChimp collected over the years. So this one, for example, is preliminary floor plans for Southern Village Neighborhood Circle members. It's a little long, but its open rate was 93% because it was very timely information, and it implied that people needed to click and look at the information in it and take action on it quickly to their own benefit. Let's see, your April website stats. So this is from a website management platform, presumably, and it personalizes it. It makes it obvious that this is information that you want and need. Let's see. Nautica in Rutland opens soon. So this is, the entire message is summarized in the subject line and something that people are going to be excited and interested in. Okay, now let's look at some not so good subject lines that MailChimp also collected. So this one is just way too long. Any subject line that begins with help implies that it's about the organization sending it and not about you. So be careful with that. If you say help or support, that usually does not work. Things that just seem too good to be true, like a high commission for you or something like that, are obviously are often ignored. So be careful with that type of subject line as well. Okay, now I've put examples here of 2 recent retail emails that I've received, so we can look at the subject lines and also at the copy itself. So remember when we talked about websites, we discussed that they can be different types. We discussed that you can have retail or e-commerce, you can have lead generation sites, you can have personal sites, you can have media sites, search engines, and it's the same with email. Emails are going to be their types are going to be corresponding to the website types. So these are a couple of emails that I got just in the past week or so, 10 days or so, from retailers. So look at this. The Pottery Barn one says the subject line is final weekend, 25% off everything. So it kind of creates an urgency, but it is not There are no exclamation marks. There is no call to action right in the subject line that's very overly salesy. And then this one from Sephora is very personalized. So it has my name right in the subject line. And then the copy for retail is straightforward. There isn't much copy. It's showing, their products, and you can click and go to them. Go shop on the websites. This email is actually a media email. It is from Birmingham Business Journal, and the subject line certainly grabbed my attention. It says, "Exclusive, meet Birmingham's Biz Women Mentors for 2020. Media emails often have advertising right in the email. So this is an advertiser that is paying Birmingham Business Journal to be placed right in their email. And then they have the content of their publication also right in the email, and you can click it to read more. And then notice on this one, there is an unsubscribe. That's very easy to do. And that definitely gives the subscriber, the email recipient, peace of mind to see that unsubscribe right there. Okay, and then finally, this is a lead generation and also a business-to-business email. So this is from Hootsuite, inviting me to go watch one of their webinars or go attend one of their webinars. And the subject line is very enticing. It says, "Social is noisy. We have the solution." And the webinar is all about social listening. So websites that want to achieve lead generation, business to business websites, often they will offer you something for free. HubSpot does the same thing, in hopes that you will fall in love with them and then want to purchase their services. Oh, before we move on from that, I also wanted to I also want to show you here that this particular one has a very clear call to action, and we often see a call to action in the ad copy of a marketing email. So that's an important one. Okay, now marketing emails are clickable, should have something that's clickable, and that will take you to a landing page. And remember, we've discussed landing pages before. The landing page needs to be related to whatever is in the content of your email. So this is the landing page that I arrived at when I clicked through my Sephora email. And you might remember that the email, let's go back to it, was all about discover game-changing mini size. Say hello to mini size, curated just for you. And so it took me to a landing page that had a pre-populated search, and the search term was mini size. So it's kind of, I would say they did okay. The landing page makes sense. It is not completely customized to the email, but it makes sense. I'm not thrown off by it. The other thing that your emails need to have are a clear way to unsubscribe. We've talked about that when we looked at one of my examples. You need to give that peace of mind to your subscribers that they can get off of your email anytime they want to. Don't make it painful for them. Take them off the list immediately. Sometimes you can also have a little bit more advanced feature where you let them manage preferences. For example, they can opt to get fewer emails or only once a month or things like that. Okay, so we've talked about just general email marketing. Now let's discuss a couple of special types of emails that you might want to use or an organization might want to use. The first one is the triggered email. Triggered emails are ones that you don't send just to your entire list or to an entire segment of your list, but you send them personalized when something happens, a trigger event. One of the most common trigger events are an abandoned cart. So a customer adds something to their cart, or even sometimes they don't get that far. They're browsing products, they don't do anything about it, they don't check out, and you send them a reminder, kind of just a little nudge telling them, hey, don't you want to complete this purchase? Sometimes after they've made an in-store purchase, we can follow up with an email to keep the relationship going. Or if they've already made a purchase, we can send them an email asking them to provide us with feedback or to leave a review. And here is a triggered email that I recently got from West Elm. I was just browsing and the email says, we noticed you noticing us, plus a little, encouragement, a little coupon here that I can use if I want to go back and purchase what I was browsing. And the copy emphasizes that coupon and says, thanks for checking us out. So this is very typical format for a triggered email. Okay, and then a second type of special email is the onboarding email. And this is the type of email that we use when someone has just signed up for our email list, and we send them an email message to welcome them. They're usually less knowledgeable about who we are, what our products are. So we want to encourage that curiosity, or, give them something to explore on our website. They're going to be more responsive. Click-through rate is going to be higher. So take advantage of that in a good way, in a way that works with your audience and helps them achieve their goals with regard to your company and your website. A final topic that I wanted to discuss is I want you to be very clear on what is email spam versus what is email marketing. If we want it and we welcome it and we've subscribed to it and want to continue to be subscribed to it, it's email marketing. It's white hat. If it's not an email list that we subscribe to, if the marketer just kind of scraped the web or purchased a list somewhere, then it is spam. So don't hesitate to send people stuff, to send people emails if you've legitimately obtained their email address from them. Spam, email spam usually has a lot of fake excitement. Usually the subject line is a lot more exciting than the ad copy itself. You know it when you see it. Sometimes it has topics that are unrelated to the topic of the website or what the person signed up for, whereas email marketing is all about, it's what the customer can expect. It's related to the website's products. It has relevant information or media content. And then finally, spammy email makes it very hard for you to unsubscribe. The unsubscribe button is not there or hard to see, or you unsubscribe and it takes them 2 weeks to remove you. So as a legitimate email marketer, make sure that you make it very easy for people to unsubscribe and that it happens immediately. Okay, so over on the discussion forum, I have a couple of application activities for you where you will show me some of your own emails that you got, and we'll also look at some metrics. We'll look at some of the KPIs we talked about. See you there.